How's it going, everybody? So today we're going to be doing something a little bit differently. I wanted to talk about kind of board volunteerism. The reason I want to do it is twofold. One, last week the elections were finalized, we finished the ballot in Las Cruces for the Association of Realtors and MLS Board of Directors. And starting next Monday, the 27th, going through elections will begin for the El Paso Board of Realtors, for the Board of Directors as well as the leadership and the MLS Board of Directors. Now, the reason I think this is important is because I think it is important to give back. And it's weird having me say this. I joined the board for all the wrong reasons. I was very frustrated with what they were doing. I didn't like it. They were pissing me off. I joined in there. I was very vocal. I changed a lot of things. I learned a lot of the things that they were doing wasn't bad. It was just really bad communication. But I was able to say my piece, and I think that was the important thing. I grew from there. What was started as me just joining to rile things up turned into me being a past president of the Board of Realtors. I am currently the Texas Realtors Director, and I was just actually named and will take over, I want to say in December, the regional vice president for the state of Texas. Also, I was just elected to the secretary role, or the treasurer role, excuse me, in the Las Cruces Association of Realtors. And I say this for two reasons. One, be very careful. Real estate boards and anything that you can volunteer for is a time vampire. They will take absolutely as much time as you will give them. I know I'm kind of preaching to I'm the choir preaching here when I'm saying be careful how much time you give, because there's probably not a single day that goes by that I'm not dealing with something on a board at some level, either phone calls, emails, or something. But I think there's a value into it. You know, the realtors have a fantastic saying, if you will, that if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And the great thing about being in the room is you're at the table. You get to make the decisions. You get to voice your concerns. You get to help decide how this organization is going to change and where it's going to go. And when you're sitting on, and both boards are sitting on seven figures of money in one form or another, that's a lot. And where your dues go and how your dues work, and deciding if there should be restructuring of costs for dues, or if dues should go up or go down, or skipping payments if we have excess money. These are decisions that are made at the board level. And if you're at the room and you feel that we should not be paying dues this quarter because we have enough money, you can have a vote and decide on that. Making those conversations is extremely valuable and extremely important, because you need to be the one in the room making those conversations, and you have the opportunity. Now, the issue that I see a lot of people like to start at the top. It's difficult to get on the board if you've never done committees. If you've never even been on a committee, or at least chaired a committee, it can be done, but it's really kind of harder when you're looking at everybody's qualifications in the elections. And the elections are, one person has 6 paragraphs of volunteerism, one person has 0, or you've only been in the business for a year. There's nothing that says you don't bring as much value to the table, but it's kind of hard to say this person who's been multiple committees, multiple chairs, done different things. I don't want to use the word has earned it, because no one earns anything. It's kind of there. The funniest thing in the world is we are an association. The association always gets mad because they say that these elections are popularity contests. Well, I hate to break it to the world. That's what an election is. The more people you know, the more people who know you, the better opportunity that you're going to have to actually win, because more people know who you are. And that's just the sad truth. If I've never heard of you and don't know you, it's going to be hard for me to vote for you if I don't know anything about you. So it is definitely a popularity contest, because the one who knows the most people is probably going to have the most votes. The nice thing is, when I first got onto the board, it was almost always guaranteed one person for secretary treasurer, and then the members of the board. We've grown from that. I was part of a very controversial time where I actually signed a petition to allow a second person to run, even though the person who was running was one of my good friends. And when someone came to me and attacked me, and they're like, "Why would you do that?" It's like, because they have the right to run. I was like, doesn't mean I'm not voting for my friend or the person I think will do a good job, but I think everyone has the right to run. And I think the board has grown a lot in that regard, where now, even this year, we have 2 very qualified candidates running for secretary treasurer of the El Paso board. So it's exciting to see. Remember, on September 27th, which is next Monday, voting starts and voting happens. Now, on top of that, you've got Government Affairs Committee, Education Committee, budget and finance, realtor builder, TreePack. You've got all of these different property management. There's a lot of fantastic committees out there that you can join. The YPN network, the Young Professional Network. There's a lot of different opportunities for you to, one, network with other real estate professionals, and two, grow and get some enjoyment. This job shouldn't just be listing and selling homes and going home and doing. It's getting out there, meeting people, enjoying it, and growing as a real estate professional yourself in those conversations that you're having. So you're going to start seeing the list start rolling around of committees. Join a committee, enjoy it, figure out what you're into. Are you into politics? Join government affairs. You get to have interview all the candidates running for office, and you get to decide who the real estate association is going to endorse, and if they're going to get all those different things, which is a huge asset. Now, if you're on a campaign, don't join, because that's kind of a dick move. But having that opportunity is huge. When I was in office, I left government. I got completely out of the board for 4 years. Was not on committees. I did not do those things. I was not in leadership because I wanted to separate myself from those two different venues, and I didn't want people associating what I did at the association with politics, or that I was trying to in any way, shape, or form push how that vote was going to go. But great opportunities. I've been on budget affairs almost the entire time. I've been on government affairs for a very long time. You need to know where your money's going and how it's working and what's going on with it. The budget and finance committee is a very important role, because their job is to basically question where the money's going, making sure the bookkeepers are adding things up correctly, making sure we're questioning where we're spending money correctly, and that's their role. And so sometimes there's some animosity among directors or different groups, because we're questioning, if a group comes in and says we want to spend money on this and it's not in the budget, it has to go to budget finance. Their job is to ask questions and scrutinize and make sure before they send it on the board of directors why it's going there. Education committee is a fantastic committee. I was never on it because I'm not good at it, but deciding what MCE classes or what designations the board is going to come bring in and teach. Huge opportunities. If you want to make sure you have a CNE license, the designation, making sure that we bring in a CNE class is something the education committee will do. TreePack is a huge thing. RPAC if you're in New Mexico, because Texas has to have their own and be better. So we branded our own Texas Real Estate Political Action Committee. TreePack is a great opportunity to go out there and raise funds for TreePack. And if you don't know the value of that, I'll give you one example. Texas, you have no idea how lucky you are that we don't have to pay gross receipts tax. New Mexico has to pay gross receipts tax. They wanted to bring it to Texas. TreePack fought it, killed it, and it's a life changer. It is a horrible thing to have to deal with. And what gross receipts tax is you have to pay a tax on every single commission as soon as you get it to the state. Just horrible accounting nightmare, frustrating. Is something you don't want to deal with. They did a fantastic job. They have COVID this year of setting up conversations with the governor as soon as making sure that real estate was named as a what's the word we use, that we were all necessary. Necessary is not the right word. Essential. Real estate was essential, so we weren't shut down when COVID hit. Huge opportunities to have those conversations, and TreePack and Government Affairs did a great job of making sure that we were at the table in those conversations very early on. So I think it's important to go out there. It's important to do it now, especially if you're a new realtor. Join a committee. Absolutely, join a committee. Don't join every committee. Because they will take as much time as you will give them. And again, it's easy for me to say that. I'm on multiple committees in multiple states. I'm on boards in both states, and it takes a lot of my time. I'm not a new agent trying to figure out how to get things done. I'm a broker. I'd say a little bit easier for me, but even this week I've got a board meeting tomorrow in Las Cruces, followed by a budget hearing in El Paso, and then on Friday another board meeting in El Paso. So it definitely takes time away from your ability to make money, but it will also help you advance the ability to make money. So I strongly see a value in doing it, but you've got to put up your own stop guards, or they will take as much as they can possibly get from you. I will say I've learned a ton from being on the board. Had the opportunity to go to some fantastic trainings all throughout America. by being on the board and in the upper leadership levels where they actually pay for you to go to conventions and things. So huge opportunities, but think about it. But more than anything, what I want you guys to get from it more than anything else, you got to vote. Vote for your leadership. Who's going to be deciding how your board money is being sent? And you got 3,000 members paying tons of dues. That adds up real quick. In Las Cruces, we have over 700 realtors now. Making sure where your money's going, how it's going, where it's being spent, what you're going to do with it. Do we need to raise dues? Do we need to bring in certain opportunities for realtors to use as far as different what's the word I'm looking for? Different tools, deciding which tools the MLS brings in. Brian Birds is a perfect example of someone who does not want to play the game, but I keep forcing him to. He has been on the El Paso Board of Realtors, the El Paso MLS board, the Las Cruces MLS board, and has done a fantastic job of bringing insight to those organizations, even though he's probably the first to say he doesn't want to do it. But he does. He gives his time and his knowledge, because we need to make sure there's a good mix of brokers, agents, and experience, because for me to sit there as a broker, I don't do the tools as much as somebody else. We need to make sure the people who are using the tools and benefiting from the tools are in the room as well to talk about what's going on. So I'm going to see if Brian, are you running around real quick? Are you hiding back there, or are you off? Check it out, see if he has anything to say on this. But there's huge opportunities in leadership, and there's huge opportunities in volunteering. And it doesn't have to be just the board. The majority of volunteerism that I've given throughout my adult life has come back tenfold in my business. I donate time with our church. I've gotten a lot of business from church. We've got to donate time with all different aspects. My family does very much with food banks. My family does very much with donating to help out with hockey, doing a lot of different organizations and things. And with that, we get a ton of business. Now, that's not why we do it, but it's a great side benefit of being able to give for your time. So think about this. Think about when it comes out, what committee would you want to be on? Go to a couple meetings, decide. Is it for you? If it's not for you, say, guys, thanks. It's been great. I'm done. There's nothing that's going to hurt you and go. You may decide and get the bug and say, you know what, this is what I enjoy. I see value. I want to move up the chain, because our job as leaders is to find our next leader, and we've got to make sure we do that. So that's pretty much all I've got today, guys. It's not going to be crazy long today, but it's a great opportunity to remind you, one, starting Monday, start voting for your leadership in El Paso, and two, in Las Cruces, start supporting your leadership. Make sure make sure they know you're watching, and that's a huge thing as well. If we sit in a room of 8 or 20 people, depending on which board you're in, and no one's paying attention to what you're doing, or a different kind of meeting can happen than if people are watching, paying attention, coming to the meetings and asking questions is a huge opportunity. So guys, think about it, give back to the association, and give back to yourself, because I've grown a lot in my meetings, in my travel, in my trainings, to have the opportunity to, one, give back to my clients. And that's what we're here for at the end of the day. With that, that's all I've got, guys. Hope you have a good one, and we'll see you next week. Appreciate it.